What is going on, everybody? It's your boy, Mr. Banks, coming at you live with another trade recap. And today we hit SPY for over 247%. You heard that right. 247% banger, catching the absolute bottom on SPY. Today, I want to go over why we took this trade, how I found this trade, and some risk management that went into this trade right before we took it. So hit that retweet and like so you don't miss any of this educational content I put on a daily basis to make you a profitable trader. Now, as you guys know, there is no hindsight trades here. These are live trades that were taken. Take a look at this. Everyone is looking for the gap fill. I don't think we see it as we saw so much selling to end the week Friday. Obviously, could be wrong, but I feel like we'll base here. Took calls, absolutely banked with the team. As you know, I always go over everything. Shout out to the team coming in hot today. New member hitting almost $14,000 on the day. So congrats to everybody. But you came here for the trade recap. So how did I find this trade? What was I looking at? Well, we already know we saw a lot of selling, right? Ended Friday with a big, big sell. But where did we come into Friday? One thing I want to know, and everyone should be doing, is I understand volatility is high. We're putting in some massive moves these last couple of months. But one thing we need to know, if we just zoom out and look left, is we're still just playing through supply and demand. Has it been a little bit more difficult, especially in this distribution phase up here? Absolutely. But if we zoom out and look left, where do we come into? A pretty massive demand, right? Pretty massive demand. This is where we broke out into the retest all-time highs. And now we're coming back in and retesting it. So we held those lows, we gapped up overnight. And one thing I also want to note is I had a level at 543, right? Created back in June 17th. So one thing to note, guys, is when you play the same names over and over again, trading becomes so much easier. And why does it become easier? Because you have your levels that will date back, that will play out over and over again. The daily levels, the weekly levels, and even the hourly levels, you can find still hold very true and respected months later, right? Not days, not weeks, but months later. And that's something that is great when you play the same names because you already have your levels drawn, right? There's no second guessing or having to draw new levels or catching the momentum stock of the day. That's all great and dandy. But when you can trade something over and over again, there is no stress on the day. You already know you have your levels, you have your trade plans, and you just trade it, right? If the opportunity doesn't come, it doesn't come. But it's way less stressful than trying to wake up every day and trying to catch the new momentum play of the day, right? Which oftentimes as new traders, you fail 9 times out of 10 on that. So stick to learning a trade. So great. We have that 543 as that major level. We could see her on the daily, massive support, right? And then we broke under. So you could see this was a pretty big level. And again, we came into a massive demand here, right? We can see it here, retesting it, gap up. So what was I looking at today? What was I looking at today? Well, one, the morning we knew was a little bit trappy, right? We knew it was a little bit trappy. Had a nice sell coming down, but where did we bounce from? Say we didn't have 543 marked, right? Say we just didn't have that level mark. Where are we coming down into? Is it not pre-market low? As we know, pre-market high and pre-market lows are pretty important. Why? Because they do hold value. It's showing you where there is a level that's being respected either by buyers or either by sellers. And you will find oftentimes coming into the day, whether pre-market high gets rejected, pre-market low will get rejected, or you could see that a trend tries to start to form after we break through those levels, that they work out. They're very important because they work out to help you find a trend, to help you find levels to trade off of. So always know around where pre-market low is. So even if you didn't have 543 pre-market low, that is where we're bouncing from. Another thing you could see is, okay, let's zoom left. Where is there a pretty big level from Friday? We can see in the close, we have a nice wick. I don't know if everyone has that. Have a nice wick there. You can also see there was some resistance here at around 543 as well, right? So 543, reject, try to come back up, reject again, reject again. So 543, pretty big level here that we're seeing even from Friday. So intraday levels, I can even draw this 542.65. Look at that. Absolutely beautiful there. Coming straight down to that level. So pre-market low was looking at that. I already had the 543. So it's nice again to have that confluence of the higher time frames coming down to the smaller time frames. When you have two levels that add up together like that, just going to give you a higher confluence, higher probability trade. And doing this for 11 years as well, we've already sold off into a big demand. We have gapped up. It took us, what, 2 hours to get back down to this level. Seeing action, this type of action, seeing how big we sold yesterday with the gap up and us holding above, uh, you know, higher probability we probably bounce, trap people at lows, and then bounce, right? Which is, as you can see, I gave to my team earlier, that exact play, exact thesis, it played out. One thing to keep in mind is we did take a little bit early entry, right? So we did take a little bit early entry up here, which I did cut and get into a re-entry, which just went over 300% at the very top. Why did I cut? Even though this entry right here ran over 100%, I think close to 140%. Why did I cut and get a better entry on that? Well, one thing to keep in mind is, say we did break these lows, right? Nothing is for sure when it comes to trading. Say we did break these lows. I'm not going to sit here and wait for these lows to break. And we do get that gap fill, right? Because I can always be wrong in my thesis. Most of the time I'm not, but there are some times that I am. We start to head lower. I'm not going to get absolutely demolished on a trade because I bought a little bit early, right? So I'm going to rather cut and re-enter at a better entry than just sit there and let it bleed and bleed and bleed. And two, you never know how big this bounce is going to be. Did I have the bounce correct, right? Did I have my trade plan correct? Was my thesis correct that we weren't going to fill the gap fill? Yes, everything was correct. Did the original entry go over 100%? Yes, but one, risk management 101, cut, re-enter. Two, at a better entry. Two, when we get a bounce, say we did bounce from here, which, just obviously we did, but say we bounced from here and we only bounced really back to 544. We lost some premium on it. That trade is maybe going to be at break even, maybe a little bit less, or maybe a little bit more, right? We never know how big that bounce was going to be. So say it only bounced back up because this is a pretty big supply here. So we just bounced, retested, and headed lower. Then I'm not going to get anything back on that, right? I'm going to get maybe a little bit smaller loss, maybe break even, and at the best possibility, just a little bit percentage green. So why I wanted to re-enter, and this is just something I think needs to be said, right? Because I'm always fully transparent, needs to be said to help you guys learn. Do not let red trades just keep bleeding, right? Don't let them keep bleeding. That is something, you know, something you'll learn, but just don't let it keep bleeding to the point where you're just hoping that it will happen, right? Hoping that it will turn back green. Um, just needed a better entry on it, right? So you can always cut and re-enter, right? The loss that we took here, this was far exceeded any kind of loss that was taken on this, right? We grabbed literally the absolute bottom here, wrote it up for 247% because my level was 547. That was my target. It ran over 300% by the end of it. Far exceeded the loss, right? So I hope everyone understands, and I hope that's a good lesson and a good reminder for those to cut your losses. You can re-enter. I promise you, cutting and re-entering is going to help you so much more than trying to average down, at least in day trading. Swing trading, you can average down if you have a lot of time. But day trading, just cut, re-enter. There's so many things that can go not your way. And when you start holding losses and you hold and you hold and you hold, they can really start to add up very quickly and your account can get blown very quickly. So very important to cut losses early and ride your winners out. So Hope you guys enjoy this. It was a good, more risk management type of prep talk and trade recap on this. Uh, but thank you guys for turning out. My name is Mr. Banks. I'll see you guys next time. Hopefully you guys join the Wolves, and I'll see you in here. You guys can learn how to become profitable traders as you saw with the team. Other than that, have a great day. Have a great rest of your week. I believe in you guys. Believe in yourselves. I'll see you next time on another episode of Trade Recap. Love you guys.